You're listening to the Recording Acappella podcast, and today's guest is Deke Sharon.
My hope is that our style of a cappella will not end up starting to backslide and disappear because so much of it is driven by high school and college a cappella. The style is constantly evolving as popular music evolves, which keeps it fresh and young and new and exciting for new generations.
Welcome to the Recording Acappella podcast. Who else would I have had on my first show other than Deke Sharon? You name it in acapella and he has done it, or probably created it, or made it better than it was. When you hear Deke's name, you often hear the father of contemporary acapella following it. He's an arranger, producer, coach, writer. Deke's acapella pedigree is well known. The Bubs, CASA, the House Jacks, Straight No Chaser, Committed, Nota, Corner Symphony, The Sing Off, Pitch Perfect 1, 2, and 3, Pitch Slapped, In Transit, and the upcoming Pitch Battle on the BBC. Deke is rarely at home, and I caught him there, and we talked about In Transit, some of its pioneering elements, and what it was like to record a Broadway soundtrack. We also cover Pitch Perfect 3. We get a sneak peek at Pitch Battle, and also talk at length about acapella finally getting a seat at the grown-ups table in the music industry. I'm Danny Osmond, and this is the Recording Acappella podcast. Deke, thanks for coming on the show, man.
My pleasure.
The show, which is as yet to be named, but I think it's the Recording Acappella podcast.
RACP, R-A-C-P.
Yeah, rap. Exactly. I have my interview questions up here. It says rap Deke Sharon. Now, I might get confused later and think you're doing some acapella hip hop or something like that.
Well, no, I'm older. So for me, rapping back in the 70s was actually when cool people would get together and talk. Like the old show Zoom on PBS, like, let's have a rap session. It'd be like teenagers talking about real issues. So,
So you're at home. You're sitting at home. This is very rare for you. What's it been like traveling so much for acapella over the last few years? Did you ever imagine that it would get to this point?
Well, I kind of bet my whole life's career on acapella being successful. So I did, in essence, count on acapella being successful, plus being with the House Jacks and touring around and performing and then having all these other gigs. I'm my life is built to be on the road, in part, certainly. But the specifics of how big it would be, I did not necessarily count on. Now, 20-something years ago, when the House Jacks were in a bidding war between a couple different labels, it was actually a guy from RCA, who have since signed Pentatonics, of course, who said, there are two kinds of music that everybody loves and nobody knows where to actually find it. One of them is reggae, and the other is a cappella. Anytime you have them on a festival stage, they'll draw a huge crowd. People love it. But they just don't really know much about it or think that much about it. Everybody has Bob Marley's greatest hits, but beyond that, I knew that I had lightning in a bottle, and people have started to come aware and realize this as well. And Craig Coleman, the head of Atlantic Records, when he heard Straight No Chaser and he first called him, he said, lightning in a bottle. Those were his exact words. So bottom line, the specifics of this crazy life I lead, I did not have in mind, but the general sense that acapella could blow up and be big, that was kind of what I was hoping for.
So it started out touring with the House Jacks and the Bubs before that, and then and now it's a little bit cushier, right? People pay for you to go on cruises and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's I get flown business class. Let's put it that way. but it's all the same thing. It's going to places and hoping to inspire people through vocal harmony, spread harmony through harmony. That's my life's work.
Last time I saw you a month or so ago, you had just gotten off a barbershop cruise. Tell us about that.
That was a blast. So the largest cruise ship in the world is called Harmony of the Seas, which is Royal Caribbean. It's unbelievable. It's like having an entire hotel and mall complex on the ocean. Like, you can get lost in the ship. It's crazy. I'd never been on a cruise ship, by the way. It's not really a California, San Francisco kind of thing to do. cruises are East Coast and the Caribbean and stuff. Anyway, it was really fun because Tony DeRosa, one of the biggest names in barbershop, historic guy, many gold medals in the Barbershop Harmony Society. He taught barbershop, and I taught a cappella to this chorus of 100 or so assembled people who were on this cruise. And so we'd do a couple hours of rehearsal on the days when we were at sea. And then when we had a port day, we'd all just run around and explore the island or whatever. It was a blast. It was great.
So what else have you been up to? You just wrapped Pitch Perfect 3, right?
That's right.
How was that this time around?
It felt like a reunion of the sorority. So the first movie felt like freshman year in the sorority, and they were all kind of like meeting and getting to know each other. And the second movie definitely kind of felt like senior year at the sorority. The pecking orders were established. Let's get everybody back together. Really fun. This one felt more like everybody's graduated from college and we're all coming back together for a big reunion. Process-wise, I know every single one of the Bellas' voices and how they learn and how they think and what they need, and I mean, just the whole process. So in that sense, it was definitely easier than either of the two movies. Easy to the point of us having swaths of time where there was nothing to do, believe it or not.
And this was the first time filming outside of Louisiana, right?
That's right. Bobby Jindal yanked all the tax credits for the state of Louisiana. So Georgia picked him up, and everybody has decamped from Baton Rouge and New Orleans and moved up to Atlanta. So we were in Tyler Perry's studios.
Cool. A lot of the shows that I love to watch, you always see at the end, made in Georgia, and they have that big peach. Archer.
Yeah, we had
a lot of animation.
Walking Dead right down the street and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Very cool. I don't want you to talk about the movie and what happens, but were there any funny stories from the set that went down this time that you can share? G-rated.
That don't give away plot points or...
Right, exactly.
That's tough. I will say this. Probably the funniest thing is John Lithgow. It's been announced that he's playing Fergus, Fat Amy's father from Australia. He's a bit of a shifty con man. And, of course, he calls her Patricia because that's her real name, right? Patricia! The scenes with him are pure gold, and I can't give away any of it other than people will see it, and they'll just laugh and laugh and laugh. And by the way, he's the most wonderful, charming, lovely, friendly, generous person you could ever meet in show business. And I've been a fan of his since the Buckaroo Banzai days, John Big Boutte. Oh, yeah.
He's a chameleon, isn't he? He's
amazing.
A lot of different things. He can play strong characters, weak characters.
Amazing. He's also great in The World According to Garp, that really early Robin Williams movie. He plays a transgendered woman who, back in those days, it was basically unheard of.
Yeah, these are two movies that people listening to this, I think, are probably way younger than us, need to check out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Buckaroo Banzai and The World According to Garp.
Yeah.
Great films.
I was talking to Bill Hare the other day. I was actually at his house last weekend while he was in Boston at Boston Sings the Festival. Yeah. And finishing up an album with a group there. And I was looking at all of his Post-its. His project management system is a bunch of Post-it notes. But I saw In Transit on there, and the soundtrack for In Transit.
Yes.
I saw the news just yesterday or the day before that it is closing on Broadway. So if you haven't seen it yet, you should probably check that out before it closes. It's sad news. That's Broadway. That happens.
Oh, yeah.
But what was the experience like of building up that show? And I assume you were involved with the soundtrack too.
Oh, yeah. No, I produced the soundtrack, which is going to be fantastic. And it'll be out April 28th, end of the month. And we knocked that soundtrack out in one day. That's how they do those albums. So we put up a bunch of gobos, lined the whole cast up, ringing classic Avatar Studios in the big room A, and went through the whole show, like twice through each song, and then had the second half of the cast in there, did the exact same thing. Now, they've been doing the show for several months, so they really know it well. It's like a perfectly fitting pair of lightly faded blue jeans, like comfy and classic. And I mean, it's a great album. I'm super happy. As for the show closing, I'm glad the show ran 4+ months, plus a month of previews.
That's a good run for a Broadway show.
Yeah, particularly a Broadway show that has no big stars. It's not taken from a movie or a book or a graphic novel or comic. It's no superheroes. There's no death in it. There's no suicide. It's not a jukebox musical. It's all original. I mean, we were trying to thread and it's the first ever musical that's all a cappella. So we were doing something completely new, which was so fun and so fascinating. I mean, for anybody who has not had a chance to see the show, every note is a cappella. Paul McCartney came recently, and Little Steven from the E Street Band and the Sopranos. And these guys loved the show, and they understand the complexities of what's going on. But the best compliment I get is when they say, like, I completely forgot it was a cappella. Like, I just got lost in the stories, lost in the music, and then afterwards realized it was all voices. But some of the pioneering things we do with the show is the music director can never be seen. So usually either there's a video screen or you've got the music director down in the pit and all the singers can see the person out of the corner of their eye. Nobody can see Rick, who conducts the show. It all happens via in-ear monitors. The stage is in the round. The audience is surrounding almost all of the stage. And people come on and off through different exits and change clothes. Meanwhile, they're singing the whole time. And the way they hear everybody else is through a really well-mixed in-ear monitor setup with the music director being able to tell them, like play a pitch and then go 2, 3, 4, and they launch into song. And it all kind of, the underscoring happens underneath the dialogue and builds up, and it's pretty amazing.
So you've taken some of the things from like what a lot of professional a cappella groups are using now with clicks to start their numbers and pitches through the in-ear monitors.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. But the difference is when a pro group is doing this, they're on stage, they're all right next to each other, they can look at each other and like whatever. Imagine one guy's stage left, one guy's stage right, one guy's in the dressing room changing, and one guy's sitting down in the back of the stage facing one way, and another person's up in the front of the stage facing out to the audience. Now start your song.
That's cool. So how long did it take the cast to gel and really become an ensemble?
We did almost 2 weeks of pure music rehearsals before we started any staging, which was a big step forward. And then when we introduced in-ear monitors, I just told everybody, look, some of you guys are going to go home and cry, and it's normal. Because I've worked with enough professionals, there usually are tears at some point. And if you're not used to in-ear monitors, when you first put them in your ears, you feel like, I can't hear anything. I don't know who I am. That you question your very existence on the planet Earth. And particularly with a cappella, when everything is relative to everybody else and it's all shifting sands. I mean, it was tough for vocalosity. It's tough for everybody. But eventually they pulled it all together. So there was a little more music prep for the show than there normally is for a Broadway musical. But they're not just singing the melody with the occasional harmony. I mean, it's them the whole time. They are the orchestra. We would say that they're basically a quadruple threat, the typical Broadway triple threat, which is singing, acting, dancing. And then they also have to be the orchestra the whole time.
Was there any pushback from the musicians union or anything like that there was this show going up and there's no instruments or things like that?
I think there might have been, except Kristen Anderson Lopez, who with her husband Bobby, Frozen, had a meeting about Frozen at the same time as In Transit. So I think she sat down with them and she was like, for Frozen, we want extra horns and we want this and we want da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And now, so let's talk about In Transit. And the union was like, it's fine.
That's good.
At least that's how I heard it more or less went down. I mean, it's great because there was no need for an instrument and any instruments or a pit or anything like that. So thankfully they just waived it all.
Was that the last time you were in the studio with an a cappella group?
Well, I made that album just a couple weeks ago, so yes. And then before that, the first 2 months of the year were constant teaching music to and then going in the studio with the Bard and Bellas. So those are my 2 recording projects so far this year.
So what's the last big recording project you did with a standalone group producing it?
That wasn't movies or television or anything. I'm going to sound like a total douche, but I have to check my Wikipedia page.
That's fine. I'm going to edit this anyway, so feel free to take a look for a second.
You can leave that in. Look, here's the thing. I keep lots of plates spinning in the air all the time. And then as soon as something's done, I'm like, moving on to the next thing. And I don't have a clear sense of timing. Here we are. Late last year, I did a track with Straight No Chaser, which was super fun to go back in the studio with those guys. It was their big 20th anniversary album. And I got to go back to Bloomington and hang out with the guys and with Dave Weber in the studio they've been recording in since college for their latest Christmas album, which is a blast. And then before that, it was Vocalocity. We did the Vocalocity album on, was it Sony Classical or Universal Classic? It's one of the classical labels. They were like, we want a cappella. So that was a cool record deal, yeah.
You're a producer in that situation. What do you view your role as a producer, and what is that experience like?
My role is primarily to yell at people for being incompetent and then to get someone to go make a Starbucks run. Isn't that what producers do in the studio?
Yeah, pretty much.
Then yell it, and then I have to be on my phone the whole time, right? No, I'm kidding.
I have this producer desk right here behind me.
Exactly.
That's where all the magic happens. Yeah.
Exactly. My job, well, first of all, the job of a producer in any setting is to make sure that things happen no matter what it takes. So there are times when you're wiping tears. There are times when you're dealing with egos. There are times when you're running and getting plugs or negotiating for an extra hour, whatever it is. But more importantly, creatively as a producer, I make sure that even though there's all of this technical stuff going on in the studio, that we get great emotional performances from everyone. The point that I constantly need to remind singers of is that we can fix pitch, we can fix rhythm, we cannot fix emotion. We can't. We cannot manufacture true moments. So particularly the fact that I've been working with all these professional singers of late and going into great studios, they're used to being on stages. They're not necessarily used to being in the studio. So they immediately get in front of the microphone and start thinking about the technical aspects of music. And I need to get them to close their eyes, take a deep breath, move away from the studio, forget they're there. And like in the case of In Transit, just sing the show. In the case of the Bellas, just imagine you're up on that stage with your sisters, sing the song, put some heart behind it, trust that we will make sure you sound and look good. And it's, it's a little bit of hand-holding, it's a little bit of cajoling, it's a little bit of breaking the levity at times. Everybody needs something different. And definitely in the case of Pitch Perfect, when we're recording them one at a time, you can really custom tailor the atmosphere to each person. This person, we dim the lights, put on the lava lamps. This person, let's keep it bright and peppy, make the whole thing like a party. But of course, with the Vocalocity of the show, we had them all lined up there together. But the good thing about that is they're used to all singing together. They had that sense of camaraderie.
Yeah, it's weird how that happens. When I was at Bill's last weekend with On the Rocks.
Oh, great guys, yeah.
On the Rocks is a very experienced group that has a great live show, even 2 iterations past the sing-off On the Rocks, or even more than that probably now. Yeah. But they still have that excellent live show, excellent energy. And we were working with soloists and guys that had killed this solo 1,000 times live would all of a sudden go into their shell a little bit, and we'd have to work them out of that. I see a lot of times too, groups that I record, if they're looking at their music, as soon as their eyes go to their music, it shuts something off in their brain, or there's a disconnect. So a lot of times I'll spend time with the group saying, let's do these 2 bars, put the music down, don't even look at it, and really sing it, really let loose. And
yeah, that's what we do with the Barton Bells. In fact, I have a rule. I have a rehearsal room. It was Tyler Perry's executive conference room. And I make every single one of the Bellas do a private lesson with me, and they have to sing their part perfectly before I'll send them in the studio. Because in the first movie, we really wrestled with them kind of struggling and reading the music, and some didn't read music. But like, if they haven't internalized what they're supposed to do, then there's just fear and trepidation, and there cannot be that kind of wonderful, excited confidence that you need, particularly when you're representing a group performing on stage. So you're absolutely right. You got to get them out of the music and get them into the internalization of the process.
So on my blog here, the recordingacappella.com, I spend a lot of time trying to teach groups who are already going to do it themselves anyway, how to record themselves better. And every once in a while, I'll pepper in some info about how to edit or little mixing tips and tricks and things like that. But I tend to say, you can record yourself really well. You can learn that pretty easily, and it's more about the performance and getting a good quality recording. But the editing and the mixing tends to take a little longer to learn. Why do you think a group should hire a professional, maybe as a producer, like you've done, or even the editing, the mixing, and definitely the mastering?
I would use the analogy of photographs. So anybody can pick up a camera, can pick up an iPhone, can see the light is just right, can compose a picture well, can take a bunch of snapshots. And frankly, that's the biggest value to a college a cappella group. You have more or less unlimited time. I know you don't think you do. Wait till you grow up and graduate college and you'll realize you did. But you basically can, let's record it on Tuesday. Oh, that wasn't great. Let's record it on Wednesday. Let's record it on Thursday. Let's record it on Friday. It used to be you had to go into a studio and spend $500,000 a day. It got expensive. So you can take a good photograph or lots of good photographs. But being really good at using Photoshop is tough. Now, if it's like, oh, I just want to crop this photo. Okay, you can probably crop it. Okay. But if you're going to be like getting rid of red eye really carefully and smoothing out the skin, oh, and this person wasn't there that day, so you need to drop them in and make it look like they're in the back row. Like, there are 1,000 different ways to make it look terrible. And there are about 3 ways to make it look natural and good. And the thing that people really want when they're releasing an a cappella album is what you hear from college groups all the time is, oh, just make it sound natural. Make us perfect, make us incredible, make us sound like pentatonics, but make it sound effortless. That requires a professional hand. That it's not even always possible, but the technology within Melodyne is so powerful, and it's so easy to wield that like a machete and just hack the crap out of everything, and then you've just got this carved up corpse. Go to a professional. Go to a professional brain surgeon if you want brain surgery, and go to a professional editor and mixer if you want a great a cappella album.
Definitely so true. So what's next for you? I think you're headed overseas or across the pond.
Across the pond, yeah. BBC One went and put out a big call for a new television show to take the place of The Voice, which they're not going to be airing any longer. And there were like 50, 60 different shows, and it all got whittled down to Pitch Battle, which has been created by one of the people who created Dancing with the Stars, one of the biggest reality shows on television. And this show is going to feature choirs of all different sizes and up to about 25, I think, different styles, and a cappella groups. The show will, fingers crossed, be successful in England, and then we'll be able to take the format elsewhere, and ideally over here to the US, and it will hopefully fill the niche that these sing off, the big gaping open emptiness, that hole that I miss so much, and we all do.
You think it'll make it on BBC America?
So the reason that it won't is not that it wouldn't be of interest, but because in England, the song clearance laws are so much easier. It's not as easy as the Netherlands or China, where like you can just do it. Well, China, I don't think anybody cares. But in the Netherlands, they basically have national blanket licenses. You can do any song. You can do Prince. You could do Michael Jackson. You could do Jimi Hendrix. Like all these songs that are really hard to normally get the clearance rights for. In the Netherlands, everything is wide open. In England, they're mostly wide open. There are a couple that were tough, but pretty much anything is good. In America, that's not the case. So unless they're going to go and clear, Nelly, let's see, my opening numbers are mashups of 6 songs because we introduced 6 new songs each show. Let's say there are 45 songs in an episode. It's just not going to happen. Hopefully, however, on YouTube, we'll have some of the best performances that'll get people really excited. And then we can make the show here in America.
Yeah. Now, Pitch Battle, are there American Gladiator elements? Like, do these groups fight each other? Or is it just...
Yes, all of the... And then the Emperor does a thumbs up or thumbs down, and the group is summarily executed, which is really... It adds a lot of intrigue and excitement to the show. Unfortunately, we're not... No, I'm kidding. Of course.
I would love to see a cappella groups fight each other.
With pitch pipes and slapping each other with XLR cables. The cool thing about this show is there's a riff-off. So this is taking the kind of battles at the end of the sing-off one step further, because these two groups will be going back and forth singing songs, but they'll never have seen the full performance of the group until they're on stage in front of the judges. Now we have a live band that will be creating kind of an underpinning, which is frankly a little bit necessary, because if one group speeds up or goes sharp or whatever, it puts the other group in a bind. So this way we can kind of level out the playing field. It's pretty wild. It's pretty exciting. Once again, doing something for the first time. And that's, I think, going to make this show really compelling to people.
That'll definitely be fun and funny, hopefully. So before I let you go, Where is acapella going? I get this question a lot, and I hear people discuss this question. Where do you see acapella in 5 years? You're the guy that has really pushed it for so long. Where's it going?
I can only give you my guess, of course, but my sense is that this whole kind of like media darling, flash in the pan, oh, look, Glee, oh, look, Pitch Perfect. What we're about to enter, I think, is more of a period of maturity and longevity and stasis rather than this kind of explosive growth, which is fine because what I want to make sure we do is not backslide. So unlike originally the barbershop style or the doo-wop style where the acapella, the contemporary acapella of the time, because those were contemporary acapella styles back in the day, what they did is they kind of got calcified and locked into a particular vocabulary, particular set of chords and sounds, and then they became a thing of the past. My hope is that our style of a cappella will not end up starting to backslide and disappear because so much of it is driven by high school and college a cappella. The style is constantly evolving as popular music evolves, which keeps it fresh and young and new and exciting for new generations, which is why pentatonic sounds so very different from the nylons or the bobs, and yet we're all still part of the same evolution, as it were. So I have a feeling that as far as the media is concerned, you might be seeing less a cappella, like, look at this new thing, look at this new thing. But hopefully what we will see is a maintenance of where we are, coupled with a continued enormous growth kind of under the big media radar. So pentatonics will still be out there. You got the Philharmonic on the James Corden show. Like, you've got these groups that are going to still be out there. Home Free singing the Grand Ole Opry. Peter Hollins, millions of views. Straight No Chaser selling out all these shows. So a cappella is doing great. The key is if we continue to stay where we are, like a noticeable segment of the music business, hallelujah, we've won. That's what we always wanted. And while this happens, the number of college groups still growing, the number of high school groups still growing, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, it's certainly created a lot of younger people who are aware of it way earlier than in the past. I mean, even when I was in college, it was a surprise that this existed.
People don't realize that a cappella was a huge part of human culture, starting from prehistoric times as the first music or the first art form that was ever created, which we can assume because birds and crickets and whales all sing. People sang before they painted on cave walls. I mean, it's pretty much a given. It's a form of communication. And all the way up through sea shanties and pub songs and madrigals and Gregorian chant and field hollers, gospel, close harmony, vocal jazz. I mean, all of these styles happened. And then there was this dip that ended up happening in the 70s and before the late 80s took off, where vocal harmony just kind of disappeared for a bit. That was actually the anomaly. So hopefully a cappella has regained the lost ground it had and will continue to be a steady, constant piece of the overall music world. And people forget also the number one artistic activity that people do is sing. And group singing, group harmony singing in America, millions and millions of people sing in choirs, church choirs and community choirs and pop choirs and jazz and barbershop. I mean, there are 70,000 barbershoppers. People don't realize how big this community is. What I think we've gone from this, like, look, baby's growing, baby's getting bigger, to now like, we have a seat at the table. We're young adults, and all of the things that we do can continue to grow. We'll have new cool groups that end up getting record labels, record deals, and showing up on the radio. Or now there'll be another Broadway show, and it won't be like the first time, but the a cappella will get integrated into the story in different ways, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, and that's really what's exciting to me is the maturity of a cappella. The future growth is, the potential is so enormous. I mean, if you think about it, there's been no major reggae a cappella group. The first big one that hits is going to be huge. They're going to play every flippin' festival. They're going to be the darlings. They're going to be opening for every cool act. Sting's going on tour, and he brought this reggae group, right? Hawaii, where's the big Hawaiian a cappella group? Like, think of a style of music. There still has yet to be an enormous, huge Telemundo level Latin a cappella group that just blows up. So for all the people who are listening who are thinking like, well, a cappella, like it's all kind of been done. And no. We just scratched the surface. Look at Home Free. They just took over country music. Now go on the Billboard charts and look at all of the other different styles and segments of the community and think about how many of them have their own a cappella group.
And even look at Pentatonics. For so long, it was, you can't do hip hop. You can't do pop, R&B, EDM type stuff with a cappella. And then boom, 5-6 years ago, that's what took over.
Yeah, there'll be some kind of cool a cappella project that'll end up going out with live looping to all of the, like you said, EDM, all the dance clubs, and just tear it up. And hip hop, like a fully back, like the Fat Boys used to do, where you've just got a live beatbox and a couple rappers, and that being their sound and style, and having it all be vocal. Where's that? It's going to come, and it's going to be huge, et cetera, et cetera. So I see big, bright, beautiful tomorrow for all of us as more young people come up with a cappella as a part of their music education and lives all the way into middle school and high school and college. Their talent is so much greater and deeper than ours was because we had to kind of like figure it out for the first time as we were going. So I'm excited.
I am too. That sounds amazing. How can people get in touch with Deke Sharon? Because you aren't just the a cappella luminary, but you work as well as an arranger and a producer.
I'm easy to find online. I'm Deke at DekeSharon.com, or find me on Facebook, find me on Twitter, find me wherever. And I'm not only for hire, like I'm here just to help people. So if you're listening to this and you want to start an a cappella group, or you just moved to a new city and you're looking for a group there or whatever, like just drop me a line and I'll help you find a group. I'll help you put together a group. These are things that I do for free all the time to just try to help foster and promote harmony.
And I can confirm that. Deke is one of the nicest guys in a cappella. And Deke, I just want to thank you for coming on the show today, and thank you for all that you've done over the past 30 years to
thank you
to push a cappella to where it is today. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing without having met Deke Sharon, so I appreciate that.
It is my pleasure. I fell in love with this kind of music when I was young, and I was like, if people only knew, and I need to pay it forward and hopefully give people the kind of experiences that I've had. So I'm overjoyed that that's now happening. And my latest book that's coming out, So You'd Like to Sing a cappella, So You Want to Sing a cappella, Say I Want to Sing a cappella, Kid, has an entire major section in the middle filled with careers for a cappella. And within a cappella, like 30 different things. So it's not just a couple people making a career. There are hundreds and hundreds of people who have part-time or full-time jobs in a cappella. So if you're listening to this, know that book's coming out soon, and you can join us. Join us. Be the flower.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, dude.
Thanks for listening to the Recording Acappella podcast. If you're an action-taking, acappella-loving, savvy, do-it-yourself recording enthusiast, then you're in the right place. During this episode, you heard us talk about many ways to make great acappella recordings. So I've gone ahead and created an ebook called 10 Ways to Improve Your Acappella Recording for you to download for free. Just go to recordingacapella.com/podcast. These 10 ways have been the foundation of so many great sounding a cappella recordings for decades, and I have personally used all of them to help my clients get better recordings. So go download this free tool for you to use to start improving your recordings today. And while you're at it, if you liked the show, please head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. See you in a couple weeks for the next episode of the Recording Acappella podcast.